The Trump administration has made no secret of its wish to privatize the United States Postal Service, or USPS, and Wall Street has long coveted the USPS's profitable revenue streams. Now there are suspicions that the pandemic may finally provide them with an opportunity to act.
It's been in the sights of Wall Street and those that would like to gain profit from what we call the public commons and the public good and the public postal service for decades and decades and decades. But it's intensifying under this current president and his administration.
The USPS receives no taxpayer funding, and without an emergency $89 billion bailout, it says it will be forced to cease operations in a matter of months. By comparison, the US's private airlines just received a $50 billion bailout. Package mail has increased, but personal and marketing mail has dropped significantly. Those against a bailout argue that the USPS had been in financial trouble well before the spread of COVID-19 due to the rise of email, among other factors. And it is true, last year the USPS's net loss was around $8 billion. But there's a clear reason why the Postal Service is losing so much money. In 2006, Congress mandated that the USPS set aside $72 billion to cover the healthcare costs of retired postal workers 75 years into the future. This isn't a requirement for any other U.S. entity, government or privately held. The USPS makes a loss when you include that mandate, but without it, the USPS would have been able to report operating profits since 2013. A $10 billion loan has already been approved by Congress to help the USPS, but it's being held back by Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, reportedly until the USPS raises rates and makes concessions on worker pay and benefits. Donald Trump, however, has made aid contingent on raising package delivery prices on companies like Amazon, a move that might lose customers and a key revenue stream.
The Postal Service is a joke because they're handing out packages for Amazon and other internet companies, and every time they bring a package, they lose money on it.
That Amazon owner Jeff Bezos also owns the Washington Post hasn't gone unnoticed. Trump makes no secret of his hatred of that paper's coverage of his presidency.
It's kind of a terribly perfect storm where you have Mnuchin and other long-standing conservatives trying to achieve their goal of cutting public services and privatizing the postal service and all of this, mixed in with Trump's seemingly just personal vendetta against Jeff Bezos, the Washington Post, and by extension Amazon.
Presidential candidate Joe Biden, meanwhile, has questioned whether USPS funding is being withheld to make voting by mail as difficult as possible in November. The fundamental issue, though, is whether market forces be allowed to encroach on a service that guarantees delivery of mail to 160 million households wherever they are for a flat fee. And it is a stark choice for the Trump administration. Is it willing to take responsibility for the cessation of the Postal Service, just when the public, and especially those in rural Republican areas, need it the most during an election year pandemic? Shihab, Rattansi, Al Jazeera.